And I think that gives us a lot. We'll see how we work them all in. It's going to take a little while for that. But right now, from what I've seen, Drew's made a lot of plays. For a lineman in these practices, we can't finish. You got to stay away from the quarterback, and they pull up, so it's a little bit tougher to tell there. But love the way both those guys operate.
When you throw all this stuff at them, you have the rookies all together at the beginning, so when they get around the veterans, it changes for them. Have you seen, generally speaking, what you'd like to see from that transition from inundating them with stuff and kind of going along the learning process?
Yeah, each guy's different, right? So they came in the rookie mini camp, and now we stayed very basic there because they were going against the offense. And where it started to pile up for them was Thompson. But BJ's been really impressive. He's done some good things. He's a young, raw guy. We knew that going in. He stuck out today, made a play. And who's my fifth?
DeAndre.
Yeah, DeAndre, KC. I call him KC. Great job, but just an energetic, passionate guy. Reminds me a lot of Colin Saunders, really. Same body type, and hopefully he can be the same kind of player. So that's a little bit of a wrap up on those 5 draft picks. And then we got some other younger guys out there running around. Listen, you guys have asked this before and been through it. There's a huge amount of volume thrown at them right now. Justin Reed went through it last year. The vets that come in go through it, and it takes a little while. We don't take that to the game. And all these young guys are kind of spinning and floating, but a little bit of smoothing out now. We went through, phase 1, just meetings. Phase 2, we were doing walkthroughs. Then we get them out there going against our offense, and they're spinning. But we got through practice 6 today, so hopefully it's starting to smooth out a little bit.
Coach, question on 2 players: how does Amenahu and then Tranquil fit?
Right, that'd be a good problem to have.
Coach, when you look at your second-year DBs like Brian, Jalen, and Joshua, how much more comfortable do they look now than they did this time a year ago?
You can just ask them, and Trent included, right? The 5 of them. NJ is out there doing a great job. Now, I sat with them and was somewhere with them a week ago, and they're like light years ahead. And they feel it, and it's different, and they're confident. The first day we went out there for a walkthrough. The communication and the talk. Now, I'm including Justin Reed in that because last year was all new for him, too, even though he was a vet. The system was new, and those guys just, from a verbal and being kind of tied into that standpoint, they were just gelling.
Coach, it looks like you have Nick Jones and Boodle working the inside right now.
Yeah.
When it comes to top guys, I know they're not working, but do you anticipate McDuffie being that guy for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we would never give up on always having Trent and LJ ready to play in there. I don't think that'll change. Love for another guy to surface, so that when we want to keep LJ and Trent outside, somebody can go in there. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. If that doesn't happen, then one of those 2 will be in there, and a little bit will be depending on who we're playing and what the matchups are. But both those guys can play in there, and we're trying to find another one.
Coach, you saw how.
Last one.
And each guy's different. Some of the guys stand out, and they're really sharp. Other guys, it takes a little while, but I do think for the most part it smooths out for these. You know what? When it typically smooths out is when they make that first really good play, right? They get a little bit of confidence. Like I saw Chamari make that today. I'm hoping that translates to him get a little bit more confidence. These guys, more than anything, when they come in here, gaining confidence is huge. It's huge.
When it comes to edge rushers, you guys, since you've been here, brought in a number of guys late in the game, whether it's Terrell Suggs or Melvin Ingram or last year, Carlos Dunlap. I know that's Brett's deal, but if this is your group, if this is who you go into the season with, you feel pretty good about that bunch?
Yeah, right now. Now, listen, I still got to see. We know what George has been here, right? Mike Dana. We know. We don't know Charles. We know what he didn't say. We don't know Felix, right? Way too early on that. Now, Malik Herring and Josh Kendo, I really, really am hopeful for those 2 guys to surface. They've been here for a while. They know what we're doing. But, it's up to them to take that next step. And both of those guys, I think, have done a really good job to this point. Those are the 6 I think we're talking about, right? But you're right. We thank God for Brett in the last few years. We've been able to. Carlos, I think, old, vocal guy. Even last year, I know he was kind of the 3rd safety and kind of rolled in there on dime. But as a young guy a year ago, I was impressed with how bold he was. Some of these guys come in, some of these young guys are going through it right now, and they're in a position where they got to communicate, and they don't want to make a mistake, right? So they whisper it, they don't hear it. But the guys that will blurt it out loud and proud, whether they're wrong or whether they're right. I like those guys. Book was like that last year, and he's kind of just carried that into this year. Those guys are working pretty good together.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, appreciate it. Good seeing y'all.
It's going to be back at the mental at OC.
Yeah, it feels good, just to get back. Really, just in football in general, just from the season last year was such a joy. It was a lot of fun. Like I said before, familiar faces for me, but now we're back at it. Short off season, which will trade off any just working through the time.
Improvement was there?
Sure. Yeah, I would say that for us, point in time too, I think the other thing would be working with his progressions, getting to number 3 and 4 is always another thing that instead of maybe trying to force a throw here or there, which I thought he did a good job last year of making smart decisions, work into that 3rd, 4th, and sometimes that 5th progression into play. So really in training camp, we'll really be able to focus on that with the pads.
I just wanted to ask you about the makeup of the wide receiver. Obviously, you guys don't have maybe a clear-cut number 1, but traditionally, it seems like some depth there. How does that just affect the dynamics of the offense when that is the makeup?
Yeah, it's competition, and I think any type of competition that you have always brings the best out of everybody. And the one thing that you see with Coach Reed, Brett Veach, Patrick, and what they've done over all this time together is no matter who it is, whoever the team is, the offense. So he's also, he has some good experience. So we understand that and we wish him the best. But at the same point in time, we love our wide receiver room right now. The guys are competing, and it's at a point right now that is always fun when there's new guys that come in from other places or rookies for them to learn who Pat is and the other quarterbacks and work through that cohesion that they have. But Juju, great player, and but we got a lot of great guys here we like too.
There's been a lot of stuff about Kadarius potentially being this top receiver for you guys. What makes him that internally for you?
Well, I think we all see what he can do when the football's in his hands. And again, the same type of deal. He comes over halfway through the season. It's a whole new offense. He's got to learn the ins and outs, and so you have that point. And he was able to do that, and it's exciting now for us to be able to take that to year 2 and build that relationship with Pat. But he's super talented with the football in his hands, and he's been that way his entire life. But there'll be some differences, and I think that's what a lot of different reasons because of who they are. And when you have a bunch of guys that come in that are competing for different spots, and it's fun because you feel the energy every single practice. There's no one taking a day off. They're out there, and now it's just a matter of working through what we worked through last year with Juju and Quez, that timing during this time of OTAs, figuring that out with newer guys that have come in here, and that's as a coach, when you start putting in plays to try to get guys and see what they can do in certain routes, that's what it's about, that process.
Andy always says he really enjoys doing the scheme evaluation after the season. Being in your previous role doing the scheme evaluation and then obviously being promoted to OC, how did that best serve you as to how you want to make an imprint on the offense now?
Sure. Well, again, everybody here knows, I was fortunate enough to come in here in 2013 with Coach and kind of be there to be a part of in that time till now. But then you have the scheme eval. Every year is different, and we're really hard on ourselves to be in the top 3 every year in almost all categories. We want to do that. So, but there's some areas of improvement that we have that we know we can get better at without telling the whole world. We know what they are, and internally we're working on that. And that's the challenging part that keeps you going as a coach and as a player, wanting to be great in those, but not lose where you are really good situationally. So that's for me just a part of the process.
Will we be able to see your fingerprints on this, or just the average fan is going to be able to tell the difference in the offense?
Beauty of what Coach Reed does. This all starts and ends with him, and in the end, what I think one of Coach's greatest strengths is delegation. He's really good at that because he trusts his staff in all phases, offense, defense, special teams. But at the same, that's a great question, and Connor, I think, has internally, when we're in the building, we get to see every day how these coaches are in front of their players. And another thing that coach does is he does a great job in the offseason that, again, no one sees, but he gives a lot of responsibilities to the young coaches, quality control coaches, assistant coaches by position. Connor's done that, and I think what better way to interview for that type of position than doing it every day in your role that you're in, which was the last previous couple years. So Connor has great strengths. He's going to grow like all of us every year. He'll get better. But it's also the player's job, too, to know that.
Up on the Felix last name.
Highs and lows on the field that hurt here and there. What have you seen from him this offseason, getting ready for this year, and what do you expect out of him as we move towards the season?
Just a great attitude. I've always, respected him from afar. When I was in Chicago, just kind of noticed him as a player, and then when he came here to Kansas City and got drafted, and the process of where he was, and for me to meet him last year and see who he is, he's done a great job of just really focusing on right now and everything he can in practice, in the meeting rooms, and just being a leader. For him to be able to understand our role with him, his role with us, and it's a very important position, and his attitude has been phenomenal.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Good.
What you've seen so far.
It's a little similarity because you see them guys running so hard, and like when Pacheco came in, and me being at training camp last year, I see a lot of similarities: running hard, running fast, running viciously, or whatever. But so the similarity is definitely there.
Todd, what do you feel like Pacheco's missing by not being able to participate?
He's not missing anything. He's not missing anything. He comes to the meetings. He actually, if he's on the field not doing his rehab, he's actually getting a lot of mental reps, helping the young guys out, actually helping me out as well. So I don't think he's missing anything besides the physical part because he's getting all the mental parts down pat.
Coach, you played for Coach Reed, correct?
Yes.
What's the experience been like not coming back as a coach and working under him?
Oh, it's good. It's good. I know what to expect from him as far as the ins and outs and what to do and what not to do. But it's fun being on this side of the ball now, and it's giving me the being in the meeting as a staff, as a coach now, see the ins and outs, what he look for when we're watching film, and that also helps me out as far as like learning what to do and what not to do.
We've been very early. Has he changed much?
Yes, he's changed. No, I think he kept a steady flow with it as far as coaching styles and strategies or whatever. It's just the fact that I could see the difference in me playing for him and me coaching with him, or coaching for him right now. I can see the similarities as far as stuff that we did back in the past.
Todd, Clyde seemed frustrated at the end of last year between the injuries and everything. What's his frame of mind been since you've come aboard?
It's been good. It's been good. When we had our Zoom meeting before we started our phase 2, I had all the running backs to give me your goals going into the OTAs, and he wanted to be a lot more vocal, and he's been doing that, helping me out. I think he's going to do well for us.
Did you envision like as a player with Coach Reed? Did you guys ever have a conversation about one day wanting to coach?
He always asks me because I'm always hitting him up every week when I left Philly or whatever, and it's always a good luck, coach, great job, coach, and coach hides the family. So I'm always keeping in contact with him, and he always asking me what am I doing. I'm always coaching somewhere, as far if it's a high school, college, and I guess he saw the vision that I have and I have for myself, being a coach's son. I guess he saw it in me, so he gave me the opportunity to come be intern with him last OTAs and last training camp, and he saw something in me, I guess, to bring me aboard.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.